whether it's a business model, but it's really important to make sure that we do well what we can do, okay, and concentrate on that. Again, our core skill set being owner-operator, it's something we try to concentrate on more than anything else when we talk about sustainable advantages. Okay, what else do I have here? There's one more here. There we go. And as the world is never static, strategic thinking implies the ability to adapt to changing environments when appropriate and to lead change. In Asia, we have led change. Again, looking at our core skill sets of what we've tried to do there, in expanding in China, for example, that's a very, very good example of that. In China 20 years ago, there probably wasn't a lot of, five-star hotels. Now there's hundreds of five-star hotels. But if you ask the typical Asian customer, businessman, because most of our hotels are business hotels, if you ask them what your number one choice is, their number one choice is Shangri-La hotels. Because it's an environment that they're very, very comfortable in because of our family environment, because of our standards. And that's probably a very, very important part to remember. Sometimes you need a lead change when it's appropriate, rather than sitting back and waiting. Okay, a little bit on strategic thinking. Talk about a little bit about creative thinking. Okay, almost anyone can be creative. It's a learned behavior. Does everybody agree with that? Not everybody agrees with that? Somebody's shaking their heads. Obviously, some people are more creative than others. Okay, but creativity can be fostered. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. Question everything. Ask ridiculous questions. Okay, you're all young, okay, and you actually have the license to do that. When you get a little bit older, okay, it becomes a little bit more difficult to ask ridiculous questions. Encourage stupid questions. Is there anything such as a stupid question? No? Of course there is. People ask stupid questions all the time. Is there any such thing as a stupid idea? Of course there is. I know people have been probably teaching you, there's no such thing as a stupid idea. There are, of course, people come up with stupid ideas all the time. But the good thing is, okay, through the creative process, you can actually take something that might not be so viable or maybe something that's not so sustainable, and you can develop around it, okay, with a good idea. And it might lead to the thinking of something else. Developing the ability to innovate is part of that. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is actually a process, and if you can learn to do brainstorming correctly, it can benefit you, it can benefit your company, it can benefit the people around you. Again, my philosophy is to make sure that I surround myself with the most competent people I can find. Okay? And if you can do that, you have to listen to them. And a lot of times you do that through the creative brainstorming process. Okay? And again, it has to be a very, very dynamic and a very, very tried and true process, because the worst thing to do when people come up and they ask ridiculous questions or they come up with stupid ideas, you shut them down. Okay, so part of the brainstorming, okay, is develop those ideas to innovate. Foster creativity. The best way to foster creativity is to embrace change. It was once said that the only one that likes change is actually a wet baby. Okay, because most people, they don't enjoy change. Especially as you get older, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Again, because you're young, you have the liberty to change more often. Okay, simply for the fact because you can. All right, so embracing change is a thing. The other one is thinking logically within the box. Okay, that's one of my favorites. A professor at Cornell taught me that one. Everybody says, think out of the box, come up with all these wild ideas. Sometimes the best ideas actually come from logically thinking within the box. Okay, what's possible with your environment? Again, it kind of links back to strategic thinking a little bit, but it's also part of the creative process, because you don't have to come up with all these airy-fairy ideas and things like that. Sometimes these ideas, the most practical things, okay, expanded into creative ideas, can yield the best results, especially when people feel empowered to go out there and actually achieve that and do that. Okay, that's a little bit what I think about creative thinking. The last part of it was continuous learning, and I'll just kind of touch on that a little bit. I didn't put a slide up or anything like that on continuous learning, but I also think that continuous learning is also part of your journey as being someone in the hospitality industry or someone in a leadership role, because it doesn't matter whether you're managing a hotel or you're managing other kind of businesses. It amazes me when I read about a guy or a lady that's running a multinational company, like a bank or something like that, and then they get made like a GM or a CEO of a company like that makes cars or something completely different, transcending industries. And good management practices and all the things we're talking about here as far as strategic thinking, creative thinking, doesn't matter what type of business you're in. To be successful in any business, you need to embrace these things. The things we talked about before, as far as the human resource element and the emotional IQ and developing your emotional IQ, that's also, part and parcel of your growth in the business and making sure that you're sort of continuously learning new things. I chose, like I told you before, to go back to school at one point. Some of that was more technical stuff, but a lot of it was about strategic management and thinking in a little bit broader of a scale. I did learn some more revenue management things, and again, all these things are very, very important. All those sort of technical competencies, that's your platform that you grow from, that's your foundation. But to really get to the next level, that's really where you need to concentrate on more of the human element. So that human resources, I've taken a lot of human resource classes. Fortunately for us in Shangri-La, like a lot of the major hotel companies, eCornell is an option for people to go back online and take modules over 6 weeks periods of time to learn different disciplines. And I've taken advantage of those. I think I've taken about 20 online courses over the last 5 years. And they're 6-week courses. It's a lot of commitment. But, we know what running a hotel's like. It's pretty much 24/7. And if I can make time to do that, certainly the people that work with me can do that as well. We've been very successful in making sure that people are given the opportunity to enroll online, to expand their skill sets outside of their technical knowledge and learn a few more things that they can about the human resource element. So your journey on continuous learning really is more about people once you get that foundation technically. And I think I got one more slide there. Anybody have any questions? I've talked long enough. Am I okay on time? We're okay on time? How much time do we have? Did I leave enough time? Okay. All right. Anybody have any questions? One from the back.
Just a curiosity question. We just read a case on Shangri-La. And a case study one night. Part of it is in regards to your employee-to-guest ratio.
Okay.
And then going back to 2006, actually, a number of hotels coming into China and poaching some of your people.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So consequently, that put a strain on your payroll.
It is.
I was just wondering, has your employee-to-guest ratio gone down at all in the last couple of years, or changed?
Well, in Vancouver, since I arrived in Vancouver shortly after the economic meltdown, and the hotel had just opened up. And yeah, my head count dropped significantly, unfortunately, after that. But I have right now, my FTE in my hotel is about 172 on 119 rooms. Probably seems a little bit high, but we have a very big restaurant, The Market by Jean-Georges, and that's about 66 of my 172 in my head count. So that takes up a lot. But as a company, yes, we've been attacked in China quite vigorously. In fact, I think it was Starwood Hotels launched a attack for our sales and marketing people openly. See, that's what the beauty of China is. They can just go and you can do these things. There's no rules against that. But it's quite a challenging thing for us. What we did here in this environment, we started our North American Tiger program, where my predecessor, he actually sent a lot of people from Canada overseas to work in Shangri-La hotels, and then they brought them back for the opening. We've discontinued that program because we don't have any other hotels